This is Rimaril, and today I want to show you this card game that I've been working on. And so this is Memories of Sword. It's my little card game, and it's a clone of Shadowverse, very similar to Hearthstone. It's a clone of Shadowverse. So been working on it pretty hard for the last 2 weeks, and made a decent amount of progress, so I wanted to show it to you guys. So what I have so far is this is like the game screen. So you can see your hand on all this player stats, including HP, and you can pass the turn. So you're able to play cards. So I can play a card like this, I can play another card, and right now I have local play, so let's go play a card here. Okay. So creatures can, so in Hearthstone or in Shadowverse or Hearthstone, creatures can attack the enemies, and you win by reducing the opponent's attack life to 0. So you can just keep reducing it down to 0. Creatures can also attack other creatures. Let me play something simpler. Whatever, I'll just attack. Attack. There you go. The reason why everything got damaged is this thing has a special effect that makes it damage everything. That's why normally if I just say if I have this dude and I attack here, this will die because, well, actually died before. Oh, all these cards have effects because I was using them to test, so there isn't a very simple card. So okay, I'm gonna make this card attack here, and this 2/3 is gonna kill the 1/2. There you go. So so yeah, you can play cards, and attacking is all limited. And so here's probably the most interesting part of it is the card abilities themselves. So all these cards have text on them. So Force Striker, 3 play point, 2/3. Fanfare, this triggers when you play the card. It's for followers. It's for permanent cards. So this is a follower. Do 2 damage to an enemy follower. Whenever this follower's stats are increased, so when they're buffed, do 2 damage to the enemy leader. So there's no enemy followers here, but I can still play it. But I'll just put a target here. So let's put, I'll just have the opponent play a Force Striker. So 2 damage to enemy follower. As you can see, the valid targets are highlighted. So I'll just click on this, and it does 2 damage. Besides amulets, we also have, besides followers, we also have 2 other card types, as is true in Shadowverse. We have the amulet, which also stays on the board, but it cannot be attacked. So this card buffs give fanfare, give +2/+1 to all allied followers, restore 3 defense to your leader. When an allied follower enters the battlefield, give +0/+1 to it. So this has a fanfare effect that will buff all my creatures. And it also heals my leader, and yeah, I was just tagging out a lot of effects. These are not real cards. You shouldn't put so many effects on your cards when you're designing them. So all these effects are, yeah, those are fanfare. It also has a triggered effect. Whenever an allied follower enters the battlefield, give it +0/+1. So I'll play another card. I'll play Healing Angel. It also has the fanfare effect. I'm gonna restore defense, and boom, gets buffed. And lastly, we have stuff like lastly we have the spells. So we have Frostbolt. Do 2 damage to an enemy follower. Do 1 damage to all enemy followers with attack 1 or less. So let me play the follower with 1 or attack less. Let's play this. Okay, so now we have a bunch of followers. I'm gonna Frostbolt. Do 2 damage to an enemy follower and 1 damage to all the ones with 1 attack. So see, the 1 damage effect hit this one, but not that. So there are selected effects like this. These are I call them filters in games. So they're selective effects, or effects with criteria to them. And lastly, when you play a card that has targeting, so like a Frostbolt, you can cancel it by right-clicking. So I will right-click here, and that will cancel it. I can also do that with anything that requires a target, so like Healing Angel. It lets me heal anything. I can just cancel it like that. And yeah, so that's all the progress I have right now. A notable feature that's not included is the evolve mechanic in Shadowverse. It's actually quite a complicated mechanic because, in fact, evolved version of the cards, you spend an evolution point to evolve the card, and actually evolved cards are actually treated as a separate instance. So a card basically has 2 sides, and when you evolve it kind of transforms. It doesn't leave the battlefield, but it transforms. So basically each card is going to have 2 copies. So I didn't add this feature because it would just make testing a bit more complicated, because there would be 2 copies to everything. So, and it wasn't necessary to test all these things right now. Let's see. Yeah, so the things that still need to be added are, well, there's many effects, but in terms of complexity, all the effects and targeting are all here. Like, basically all the effects, the effect system is all in play, is all added. So adding effects in the future won't be very complicated. It's just a matter of adding more triggered effects and stuff. So the main feature I need that still needs to be here is I still need to add a deck editor and all the menus actually. So a deck editor and a card editor. Card editor is really cool because actually going back to why I'm building this game. I'm not actually intending to make a full card game, because with a bunch of factions, because that's just really is too much work, and like design is hard work. But the original reason why I wanted to make this game was there's a faction in Shadowverse called Swordcraft, and when I was playing it, I really like Shadowverse, but the faction just kind of didn't really get designed very well. The mechanics, I guess the developers just couldn't really get it to work. And this ended up as like this really nice cool class of kind of chivalrous and like triumphant characters. It ended up just being a very simplified class that just has a bunch of ridiculous value cards, instead of the other classes which actually have interesting synergies. And furthermore, there's also an archetype called Control Sword, which is a defensive, which is like tries to stall at the game, and it has like a very high and powerful win conditions. And this is sort of a feature of Shadowverse itself, but Shadowverse doesn't really actually barely has any control decks, because of how fast the gameplay is. Like there are very few good defensive options in that game. So I wanted to try to my goal is to try to remake the Swordcraft faction and make about maybe 2 or 3 archetypes. Make aggro, mid-range, aggro, mid-range as in like a synergy based mid-range, and then a control, which is, I want to make that deck too. So that's my goal for that. However, I also wanted to make a card editor on the way, and that would also let anyone who wants to build custom cards and test out, anyone could test custom cards without, of course the effects type would have to be implemented, people would be able to test their custom cards without having to in a real game format. Because right now, if you want to test out your custom cards, you can't actually play them anywhere, because no one plays Shadowverse on paper or Hearthstone on paper. So having this would let someone be able to make their custom cards and test them really quickly, actually, because you could make a custom card in like 5 minutes, or a simple card in like in less than a minute. So you could just really easily make your cards, stick them in a deck, and test them out. So that's the two goals, and that explains going back. That explains the title. It's called Memories of Sword. I like my fantasy nicknames. So yeah, so that's the game. Hope you guys liked it. I'll do a separate video on explaining the technical elements, as in like having to do with the code and the things. So if you're a little bit more technically inclined, you can feel free to check that out. And if you're not, if you're just curious what code is behind this, then also be free to check it out. But yeah, that's it for my little card game. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a great day.